So let's get started.
Everyone's waiting right. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, the Putnam County Commission stands session. The Honorable Chair, Mike Atwood, presiding. All those here tonight present having business before this commission, draw nigh, come forward, and ye shall be heard. God bless these great United States and the state of Tennessee. God bless Putnam County and its honorable commission. Mr. Chairman, I find these premises to be in order, and I yield those to the chair.
Thank you kindly, sir. We appreciate your help every month. We're going to call on District 10 for our invocation and our pledge.
Would you please bow with me? Let's pray. Dear Father, we humbly come before you this evening, asking for your guidance on making the right decisions for all of your Putnam County servants. I want to thank you, Father, for the chance to serve these 4 years with dignity, honor, and integrity, and bless those who have served the same. May your blessings be upon all the citizens of Putnam County, and may the county prosper for years to come under your guidance. We pray this in your precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Nakers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you will take your handsets and press yes for me, and it will stop us right there, all right? Mr. Chairman, you have 23 present, have 1 absent. I declare a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I assume, and Jeff, you correct me if I'm wrong, since now we've moved the request for that grant into planning, that does affect the agenda as opposed to being new business. So we need to amend the agenda to include the last item with planning voted on, which is to apply for the grant, which was $100 and how much, Mr. Mayor? $105,000, I believe. So I need a motion to amend the agenda.
Move to approve the motion. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the amendment? Favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries. I need a motion on the agenda.
Motion on the agenda. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion carries. Need a motion on the minutes previous meeting.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. I ask for discussion. Favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Unfinished business by the board. Report of standing committees, planning.
No unfinished business.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Physical review.
No unfinished business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And nominating.
No unfinished business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Report of special committees. Any reports? Other unfinished business. New business actions there are. Report of standing committees. Madam Chair, planning.
Thank you. First up is to consider recommendations from the Road Committee regarding Rex Pearson Road, and that is to turn that back into a private road, correct? And I so move. Second.
Got a motion and a second on the road. Any discussion on that motion? Favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. And the motion carries.
Consider recommendation from the Road Committee to reduce the speed limit on Cane Creek Road in the county portion to 35 miles an hour, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the reduction in speed? Mr. Donadio.
Yeah, that's actually in my district, and I'd just like to thank David and Rita Strobe, as they were the ones who contacted me, and then I just gave them the information. They ran with the petitions and got that in, and thank you, Road Committee, for doing what you did there. But they worked on that, and they got the signatures.
Awesome. Anyone else? Favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion carries.
Next, recommend approval of the list of vehicles and equipment to be sold by internet public auction for the Sheriff's Department, and you have a list as follows. And I so move.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. And the motion carries.
Next up is permission from the Sheriff's Department to apply for a grant in the amount of $105,000 for mental health transport, along with a resolution regarding said grant, and I so move.
Motion and a second on the sheriff, permission to apply for a grant. Any discussion? Favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
That concludes planning.
Thank you, Madam Chair, very much. We'll move us to physical review, folks. Again, this will be handset votes, most of them, so, Mr. Chair, you're up.
Item A, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the county general fund, and I so move.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on county general? Mr. Clerk.
All right, if you take your handsets, if you're in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. It's going to automatically stop you there. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Mayor, Mr. Chairman, you have 23 voting yes, 1 absent. Motion carries.
Item B, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the solid waste fund, and I so move.
We got a motion and a second on solid waste. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Wayne.
All right, seeing none, take your handsets. If you're in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Mr. Roberts. There we go. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes, 1 absent. Motion carries.
Item C, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the American Rescue Plan Fund, and I so move.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Wayne.
All right, seeing none, take your handsets. If you're in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Okay. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes, 1 absent. The roll is called. Motion carries.
Item D, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the Capital Projects Fund, and I so move.
Motion and a second on capital projects. Any discussion there? All right, Mr. Nevers.
Seeing none, take your handsets. If you're in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. Joe, thank you. All right, all votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes, 1 absent. Motion carries.
Item E, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the Road Department Fund, and I so move.
Got a motion, second, any discussion? Mr. Clerk?
All right, take your handsets. You favor the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? All right. Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes, 1 absent, motion carries. Next item, thank you, sir.
Item F, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the general purpose school fund, and I so move.
Got a motion, second on general purpose school, any discussion, folks? All right, let's do it again.
All right. Take your handsets. You favor the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? All right. So much. Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes, 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Item G, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of budget amendments to the school nutrition fund, and I so move.
Got a motion, second on school nutrition, any discussion, questions? All right, Mr. Neighbors?
All right. Take your handsets. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? I have 23 voting, Mr. Chairman, yes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Item H, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of the Putnam County Emergency Services to write off uncollectible debt in the amount of $682,408.30, and I so move.
Got a motion, second, to write off debt, any discussion or questions? Mr. Christopher?
Yeah, I just would like to note that during my time on the commission, it seems like that number is pretty much zero.
Nothing that I'm aware of. It's typically a lot of these are when they get past insurance and they do not have insurance. And so that when it gets on the individual pay, what they do, they do not pay, cannot pay, may have died. So I've seen that number been pretty steady. If you look at the hospital, other healthcare entities, it's very typical to have write-offs, bad debt write-offs. And
Kind of expected in everything every year, doesn't it seem like?
in healthcare, yeah, that's a pretty normal kind of thing. And like I said, these debts are not gone, they are good and collection. There's a possibility we may get some amount, but it's very small.
So, there's not a sort of Medicare bottom safety net for something like this?
Well, I mean, TennCare, Medicare, any of the insurances can be, we do be, and we get money back from them, but we're always gonna have a loss. The comparison I made is going to Burger King and eating a hamburger and then deciding if you want to pay for it. That's kind of what we provide health care, and then 1, 2, 3, 6 months down the road, they have the opportunity to insure the patient, whoever you choose, if they want to pay for it. Make sense?
I mean, it does, I'm just, it seems like a big number. Yeah, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, Mr. Clerk?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you take your handsets, you favor the motion, vote yes. If not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Chairman, we have 23 voting yes, 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Item I, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval for the Solid Waste Department to write off uncollectible debt in the amount of $809.27, and I so move.
Got a motion and a second on the, solid waste debt. Big number, huh? Isn't that down a little? That's the best of my memory. Any questions? I'm sorry. All right, Mr. Clerk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, once again, take your handsets. If you're in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Chairman, of 23 voting yes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Item J, approve the joint purchase with the City of Cookeville from map 64, parcel 71, 3429 Lee Seminary Road, known as the Vernon Wilson property, which adjoins Highlands Industrial Park, and I so move.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Moss, yes, Mr. Moss.
Mr. Chairman, while he's looking that up, my motion does include the resolution that I think may have been attached, that gives Randy the ability to have right of first refusal on the additional property that we talked about in fiscal review.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Estimate fund balance at the end of this next year is $2,194,000. Right now, it's standing at $2,070,000 as we close out the end of the year. Well, the plan would be is to join it with that other parcel of property to make it one large parcel. Well, we'll start marketing it to these companies that are looking for it. Right now, most of the companies that we're getting these requests for information through the state, they're wanting 40 acres and above. Some of them wanting close to 100. So we'll start marketing that as one tract once we are able to put it together, and we'll have a better chance of
land that doesn't have these real nice houses on it, we'd have to tear it down and bulldoze or whatever if we can.
I agree. That was not the best that it could be, but it is what it is. And we didn't look for it. It just it happened to be that way.
But I do agree with you, we do need it, but I just would like to avoid that big, I agree with that.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes, as you know, I'm for buying land. I think there's a good value to the county in the future. This one here I have concerns about. I'm like Mr. Moss, I grew up in the area. I've got hay all around this property. And my recollection is the bottom third of this property is lowland swamp that you couldn't build on. So I don't know what you would do with it. Where the house is on a hill right next to the road, and then it drops off into that lowland. I think you've only got maybe 11 acres of usable land out of the 16. So that would drive your price up to nearly $80,000 per acre. So I just have a hard time spending that kind of money for this piece of property. I don't know that we have to buy it, because across from Mr. Wilson's other 70 acres, the Hall Farm sold to FedEx directly, did not come to the business park. And they were able to buy that directly and develop it. And the fact we don't have a locked-in price on the 70 acres across the road, you just have first refusal. Again, don't see that's really a plus for us. I think if a big developer wants to come in and purchase that, they can make it themselves. So that's just my take on this piece of property.
Mr. Jordan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to make a comment real quick and just say, this is a unique opportunity because we don't have, that much land as we've all opined so often. But especially right here in the business park, I can remember a time back over a decade ago during the '07-'08 recession when a number of folks in our community thought the business park was a bad idea, but nowadays we think about, we see all the fruit coming from this Vicosa, Colorobia, and others as well. I want to go back to Mr. Williams' comment during the fiscal review committee discussed earlier, and if we can, maybe market that 70 acres, if we have a chance to get that, that'd be awesome too, to be able to get that 70 acres, but that's a very good potential area for visionary school for workforce development, being so close to these industrial facilities, maybe even high-tech facilities going forward. So just as we keep in mind, the visionaries were there that bought this business park years ago, and maybe down the road we won't be here, but maybe to keep in mind, if we can locate a school there, it'd be a pretty cool idea. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Mr. Donadio, is that my right? I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, I apologize.
Just to go back on Mr. Bennett, you said, that the numbers, were at 80,000 an acre, is what you kind of penciled in? Okay, are you taking into consideration the house? Okay. Understand that, the value is there based upon the real estate, so that $80,000, I understand what you're saying, but there's some value there that kind of skews that number, just with the 80,000, I think is a little bit overly inflated. I think if we can, there's opportunity, as Commissioner Williams mentioned earlier, about possibly moving to another location, selling it off, recoup some of the money, depending on the timeline of how long we keep it before it's used or sold. I'm in agreement with what Mayor Porter says, if we can rent it, I don't wanna be a landlord, but at the same time, I don't wanna lose any money. Just my thought.
Mr. Donadio.
With this particular deal, I'd become a lot more comfortable with it if we had more than just an option on that neighboring piece. In other words, if we could go back and get a price on that piece, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with this particular deal. That's just where I'm at on this thing.
Yeah, he won't do that right now, cause he's still farming it, and he says at some point in the future, he is gonna sell it, but for right now, he doesn't want to, sell it.
And I can respect that, I would feel a lot more comfortable with that.
So, and to tell you a little bit more about Mr. Wilson, he's been, renting the property where we bought for the fairgrounds over the school bus garage and thing. He's running cows on it now, so I think his plan is probably to move those cows down to this piece of property, but I'm not for sure. But he's been a very good, person to us in renting that property, and we've been good to him, so.
Okay, that's good information, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Williams.
One last question. If we buy this and we choose to rent that property, would the county manage the rental, or would we turn it over to a management company?
No, we'll take care of it.
Good questions. Any others, Mr. Before I let you back in, is anybody that hasn't spoken want in? I try to be. Mr. Donadio.
I am sorry, his question kinda kicked one in me. This is a residential property, correct? Does the county own any other residential I mean, obviously we own corporate kind of stuff. Okay, okay.
Just vacant land.
Okay.
We don't have any houses that.
Okay, so we'd be entering a new market as a landlord.
Well, us in the city, remember, we're in jointly with this, so you
Okay.
got both governments.
I was
would
just
be
wondering
jointly.
okay.
Yep.
All right, just wondering.
Mrs. Real.
Yes, Randy, how long has all the property at the industrial park been sitting up until the last so many years before anything was ever done with it?
Well, you had Vicosa went in back in 2017, I guess. Colorobia went in probably about 2018. You've got Project Husky that you just did, this year. So, I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know what year the industrial park was done, probably in the 2008 or 10 or somewhere in there, so it probably sat for 6 or 7 years before you started selling it, but, the land off, but it's been doing pretty good lately. And I think, and I'm asked that you don't print this, but I think that I'll be bringing you possibly a couple more sales in the next month or two if things go together of other lots that's selling inside the industrial park. But I don't want to put that out in the newspaper, but, that's a possibility.
Ms. Dunn.
Mr. Bennett, I'm sorry, Commissioner Bennett, do you recall what they paid per acre for the FedEx property?
About 53,000.
Okay, thank you.
To my knowledge, there is no intent for living the dream or any of those things. I don't think coming back, is there? Mr. Miles?
I'll share this with you, since I live in the area. The Magoogan Shell just bought 12 acres, less than, 300 yards from this, and paid $75,000 an acre. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Hall got $52,000 an acre for his where FedEx is at. And just a little bit that joins the Hall farm, the Jacksons sold, 57 acres. It brought into 40. So this is not out of hand on the price that we're paying for that. Like I said, I don't like buying houses, but, we do need the land.
Great questions. Anyone else? All right, Mr. Clerk, we're on I. Everybody understand where we're voting, okay? Going in with the city to purchase this piece of property, Mr. Clerk. I said J, he's yes. Item J.
Item J. Take your handsets. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? All right, Mr. Chairman, you have 18 yes, 5 no, 1 absent. Motion carries.
Item H, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of a resolution required by the state to receive CDBG grant money for a fire truck, and I so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Favor the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. And motion carries.
Item I, Fiscal Review Committee recommends approval of the consideration of the GASB 34 amendments, as well as any cleanup amendments in order to properly close out the fiscal year, and I so move.
Got a motion and a second on the Gatsby amendments. Any questions, discussion about them? Mr. Clerk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your handsets. If you favor the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? Excellent. Looking at the arithmetic there. Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes, 1 absent. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes Fiscal Review Committee.
Thank you. Well done. Very good job. Thank you, Commission, for moving through that. Anything in nominating?
Nothing nominating.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Report of special committees. Any reports? Resolutions?
No resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Election of notaries.
We have a bunch tonight, so here we go. Rihanna Allison, Melinda A. Ayers, Andrew Wesley Bullington, Jeremy Judd at Bullington, Blanca C. Camacho, Michaela Carter, Aaron Connor, Walter K. Crawford Jr., Tracy B. Daly, C. B. Davis, Ryan Edwards, Tammy G. Flatt, Amber Flynn, Teresa C. Gilbert, Tyler K. Green, Billy Grogan, A. H. Hall, Rebecca Hargrove Smith, Betty J. Harkins, Joelle Hudson, Kimberly A. Kirby, Barbara Marino, Charlene McLean, Kathy Lynn McLean, Stephanie McMullen, Christy Manier, Sue B. Parker, Tabitha K. Rice, Amber Selector, Lisa Scott Screeton, Myra S. Hume, Stephen Simmons, Kayla Stafford, Mary Ann Stelly, Kelly Sullivan, Sean Tankersley, and last, Cornethia Turner.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion and a second on the notaries. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Clerk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have to vote these, but take your handsets and just press yes for me. I appreciate it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do that number right there, because all we're doing is just, we've already basically given them the approval. Mr. Chairman, I have 23 voting yes and 1 absent. Motion carries on notaries.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Appreciate it. Other new business, ratify Mayor Porter's reappointments to Insurance Committee. We need a vote on that. Two-year term expiring in '24, Chris Cassidy, Tommy Copeland, Ben Rogers. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the reappointments? Favor the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the motion carries. All right, Mr. Porter, we are ready to hear what you've got to say about all that money we got.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I thought I'd give you a quick update on where we are on some of the projects, and I do need a motion from the commission. So, we remember when we got the ARP funds, we're getting about $15.5 million, and originally, we were going to have to spend that all and report it all to the feds on projects. And I brought it to you a few months ago, and they're allowing us to take $10 million of loss of revenue that we can just move into capital projects and still spend on those water and broadband projects, but we don't have to do the reporting. Well, audit would like to have an official motion, even though you all approved it, and it was kind of there needs to be an official motion in the minutes. So I'd like somebody to make a motion to take the $10 million as revenue loss from the ARP funds, and that just needs to be in the minutes for audit.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'm not sure I understand it, so I can't ask for a vote till I know exactly.
Right ahead.
So I can explain, well, I just don't know what we mean, a loss. We took a loss on 10 million of it, so help me with the understanding and please.
Federal government wanted to see these funds moved out as quickly as possible and start to be spent. So they allowed all the counties, instead of having to go through all the reporting that we'd have to do with the federal government, to say that during COVID, there was a $10 million loss of revenue to the county. And so once we declare that, then that money can still go into capital projects, and we do the Green Mountain and all these water projects and stuff. We just don't have to do all that federal reporting.
Okay.
And that's all their audit is, just asking for there to be an official motion in the minutes that we did do that. And y'all were okay with it when we did it a few months ago, but there was not an official motion.
Thank you very much. Does everybody understand what he just told you?
Mr. Mayor, basically, all we're doing is transferring funds.
Yes, sir.
What the state said was we lost money. We didn't have to prove we lost money. They just said we lost $10 million, and so they gave us the money based upon that. That's what he's saying.
That's correct.
So now we're moving that money. So is everybody okay? Did we have a motion? We did, and a second. Any discussion? And all we're doing is moving, is that correct?
You've already moved it.
So we're what exactly are we doing then, Mr. Mayor?
You just need a motion in the minutes that saying that you were okay with it being moved. Even audit wants that motion, so I didn't argue.
I guess the question I'm asking, do we need to roll call? Because
no,
no, sir? All right, everybody understand there's a motion and a second, any discussion? Favor the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, so I've been working on these water projects. All those green dots represent, as you saw before, all the places in the county that do not have access to public water. So the Green Mountain project, as Commissioner Atwood and Reel know, is about finished, and there's some very happy people going to be on Green Mountain. So all good is finished in that project. We're looking to have the billing for that sometime this week. Y'all already approved that. All good is also looking at the Brotherton water tank, where you approved to replace that. they're working on the bid specs for that. As soon as this project's out, then they'll look at bidding it, and we'll move forward with it, that it'll allow future development on Brotherton Mountain, which there currently isn't any because the tank is maxed. So here's the key areas that, in the county that don't, have water where there's large groups of people. So the Martin Creek area, we're working a project with Jackson County Utility District, Double Springs, and Putnam County, 4 groups coming together. It's that $1.8 million of TDEC funds that we're able to get, that they're paying for us to be able to do this project. Everybody's agreed. We already got the contract with the architect and engineers. They're working up the bid specs. Jackson County is filing the grant. It has to be filed by one county, and if we file through Jackson County, we get a lower match. It's only 10%. So that project is fixing specs to be worked up and go out to bid. We are thinking, we'd estimated about 1.8 million. I'm guessing it's probably gonna come in a little higher than that, maybe around 2 million or a little above, but we're just guesstimating, but it's gonna be pretty close, and we've got the money there to do it. Then the other project that I've worked a lot on is the Calf Killer Highway. You probably saw, I think Jim wrote an article about that in the paper last week. Working with Monterey City and O'Connor Utility District. O'Connor serves White County, to the south here, and Monterey, it's inside their utility district. We had a meeting with them the other day. They have their engineers are looking at the project to see what they think the estimated cost will be. Once we work that out, I'll be bringing that back to the commission for your approval to do that project. And that would be something that we do on our own, that we would bid the project out, do it, and then once it's completed, it would go to Monterey City, then do upkeep from that point forward. O'Connor is working with them, though, in case they need to bring the water in from the lower ends to the upper end, because there's a lot of terrain issues there with Calf Killer when you first come off the mountain. Other project is Macedonia. A lot of wells and springs there in that area. The city of Cookeville has a line that comes up Poplar Grove Road, just short of this area. I've asked the city to take a look at it and see if they can provide the water. And it may require a pumping station to be able to do that, but Ronnie Kelly assured me that they would take a look at it, and that may be a project that I will be bringing back to you in the future. D-Lane Road is a big development that was developed by Mr. Brown back several years ago. Allgood City ran water out to the development, but there's a part of that road that goes back to the dead end that there's several houses on that does not have access to the water. They've asked to be included. Allgood says once they get done with the Brotherton water tank, then they'll look at that to see if that's something that they can do or not. And then there's this little section here that's Blaylock Mountain Road in that area, and I think I may have another slide. What's odd about this area is that there's not a utility district that covers this area. Monterey stops here, Allgood stops here, and this area is not inside a utility district. So I know that there's several people there that would like to have water, but it's going to take either getting somebody to create a new utility district or get one of these other utility districts to expand to cover that area. So we're looking at that. Not sure what the outcome of that's going to be, but we'll see as we go forward. I already talked to you about the Martin Creek area.
Question for you on Martin Creek.
Yes, sir.
How far are you planning on trying to run the water line?
All the way to the county line.
From?
Back up about McBroom. It's not McBroom Branch is covered in it, but there's a little side road that comes off the county line up there. Bunch Camp.
Yep. So you're coming from the lower end of Martin's Creek, coming up the creek?
Coming all the way, and Jackson County will service the area. They'll sell the water to you, Double Springs, and Double Springs will service the area then. But part of that area across the county line, Jackson County is doing about $1 million project there that they're servicing a bunch of customers that don't have access to water. So the whole project's about $2.8 million, but all of it except for that 10% match is being paid by the state. So it's not ARP funds or county funds.
Then on the Calf Killer, how far are you coming up Calf Killer if you're coming from White County?
As far as we can go.
Right, you're trying to get all the way to the base of the mountain?
Trying to get there. Some of it down towards the White County line is not too bad. When you start getting up that close, it's pretty rough, as Commissioner Tay said. She lives pretty close to there, so I'm not sure how far we'll be able to come, but their engineers are looking at it right now.
Thank you.
Yes, New construction that y'all have already approved, the new bus garage and maintenance facility, the architects are doing the drawings now to put that out for bid pretty quick. I think Kim's satisfied with her side and maintenance, and Mr. Jones has been working with architects to get that, so we'll be putting that out to bid soon. Health Department addition that you approved already out of the ARPA funds, the architect drawing is, being developed now, and we'll be putting that out to bid pretty soon. The new, archives, Veterans Museum, Veteran Service Officer's Office down on Highway 70 is in the dry. They made some really good progress, and we've had really good luck so far, and our costs have been really good, so I've been pleased with that. Our maintenance department's currently doing the plumbing and the electrical on that facility. Brick laying should start probably this week or next week. The brick will be delivered, and so, it's gonna be a nice facility, 2-story, about 300 or 400 square foot, so it's gonna be much larger than what they've had in the past. It's gonna be a nice facility for them. We put out the bid for all the dirt work and utilities and roads and everything that we had in capital projects for the new fairgrounds and expo center. And remember, this is to level the property and put all the streets and utilities and drainage and have the building pads and everything ready so that if the old fairground sells, we'll be ready to build some buildings. This is probably a year project, probably sometime around this time next year before they would finish it. The bids that we did came in much higher than we expected them to be. We were guesstimating somewhere in the $4 to $5 million range, and they came in about $9 million. We have went through though, we met with the contractor, that was the low bid, and we have worked out what we think is a way to go ahead and do everything, most of everything we need to do. We would do it in 2 phases. We'd be able to do all of the leveling, the streets, the utilities, all that kind of stuff. It's just this part up here, this was gonna be parking. This is gonna be where, at some point, there would be a barn built for the, ag arena, and this was just gonna be parking. Is that we omit that section right now. That cuts out over $1 million. We're looking at, still doing all the rest of it. We may only do, to start with, on the main road, we may only do 1 coat of asphalt, what do they call that, Mr. Jones? Binder. And do the parking lots to gravel, which is what we had originally decided. And this road right here, depending on if we can get our illustrious road supervisor to work with us, might help us. I'm gonna beg and help us with some of that with using the county's bid for asphalt, instead of going through the company that bid it. So we think that if we do this, we'll be somewhere right around $6 million instead of the 4 or 5. We thought we've got it down to that point. We're meeting with the contractor, today's Monday, Wednesday or Thursday, to get them on board, to make sure they've been really good to work with, to cut out some stuff that that they thought we could do without right now. But the biggest part is omitting this, section right here, and not doing anything with it right now, and that'd be a future phase.
Didn't we approve $2.5 million in this, to get started on this?
To get started on it, but as things went up,
Right. Where's the rest of the money gonna come from for this phase?
it's in capital projects.
We have enough in capital.
We have enough capital to do it, and, so the big thing with this is we think that the bid, when you look at the high bid on this, was like $15.5 million. And when you look at this company that came in, we think we're gonna have an opportunity to do this. And if we went and put it back out to bid again and just cut this little section out, we don't think we'll get the good bids as we've got right now. We're gonna get the $2.5 million from the state to go ahead and build the, my little pointer just went out, to build the, convention center, conference center, welcome center that they're giving us the money to build. So we've got to do all of this to be able to get that. We don't want to give away $2.5 million. And to be prepared that if the fairground sells, whether it sells to this developer that they've got the middle of July to do, or it sells to somebody else, we've got to do this to be able to have a fair in the future. So, I've been working really hard on this. I think we've got it worked out, if everything goes well with the contractor this week, to be able to go ahead and move forward with it and keep the progress going. Yes, sir.
likelihood that we're gonna be able to have the fair here next year?
Yes, if need to be. Now, realizing that the parking lots are gonna be gravel, but that's
Sure.
okay, a lot of parking lots
Consider
are.
what we have right now?
Yeah, we're gonna have the main, arena and everything will be built, the, midway section will be built. You'll have we're gonna look at that conference center, they're already started drawing the architect's drawings on
So very
it.
favorable if we're there for 2023.
That would be the goal. Now, would
Not
they
very
have
favorable.
to,
Okay, yeah, I can't control.
would they have to have, some tents to have some of their displays and stuff in until we can get some buildings built in the future? Yes.
I know a guy who has tents.
But they'd be able to have the midway and the arena that we have for the fairgrounds events is the goal, unless we just had a terrible weather year.
We're not talking about that.
Yeah, okay. Just wanna make sure they're transparent.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
he's had his in before I.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No, I just wanna ask real quick, I know last month we talked about the possibility of a hotel. Do we have any updates or anything on there? Are we still where we were before?
Yes, sir, I was gonna give you an update on that, I'll go ahead. We put out the RFP for the hotel, and we had one developer that came back and submitted a proposal, which is the one that we had been talking to already. They're ready to go, but we're working, Jeff and I are working on the legal issues and stuff, to bring back to you to see if you'll approve it. They've got two different hotel companies that are top name hotels that they'd look at building somewhere around 100 to 120 rooms, that would go with this conference center and expo center. And everybody I've talked to, all the other places that have built expo centers and conferences and everything, if you don't have the hotel close, it's not gonna work real well. But having a hotel there really makes a huge difference in being able to attract folks to be able to come. So I'll be bringing that back to you probably, I'll skip past budget in July and probably bring it back to you in August or September once we work out all the issues. And they're going out to these hotel chains and seeing which one they think's gonna be the best value. But, I mean, we're probably looking at a $25 or $30 million hotel, is what they're proposing.
So where are we at actually on the sale of the fairground property?
The current developer that has the option on that has to the middle of July to either bring a letter of intent to buy the property and have a large retail business that's coming, or they lose their option.
Well, how does that affect us developing the new, it's not.
It doesn't on what I'm telling you about on the earthwork and utilities and everything we've gotta do. It's just when you start building the buildings, you're looking at, we'll be able to build the new conference center and, welcome center, because that's $2.5 million of state funds that are coming to do that. But when you start building the expo center and that kind of stuff, we need that money from the sale of the fairgrounds to be able to do this. This gets the building pads ready, but it's not anything to do with building any buildings. Mr. Chairman, I'm just going, is that okay?
You go right ahead.
I'm not sure which one's first?
Question I have is the land that the hotels are gonna be on, it's still gonna be kept to us, we're gonna lease the land to them, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's in the.
That would be my goal, but now if the
Yeah.
commission decided you wanted to sell it or
No.
something, that'd be up to you, but that would be our goal,
All right.
or my goal.
Good.
Ms. Dunn?
So the developer that currently has the option on the existing fairgrounds property, or any indication that they will not close?
Don't have any one way or the other right now, so I'm, fingers crossed, but, there's a lot going on in the background with retail right now in our area that, you probably know as much as I do, but I can't talk about it in public, so. Yes, sir.
Two questions. One, you and I have spoken about individually, but have you given any more thought to taking that $2.5 million that the state is giving for the Welcome Center and actually building that as a wing or a section of the Expo Center? Seems like there might be a lot of cost savings there. Have to rework things with the architects a little bit, but.
Yeah, and let's see, you're looking over here. So the goal would be is to put the conference and welcome center here right beside the expo center and either attach it, or it'd be real close to where you'd have a covered walkway that goes between each building. The difference in the conference center and the expo center is the conference center would have
space that's something more like Leslie Town Center except bigger. And the Expo Center is gonna be a huge metal building that, kinda like Wilson County's got, that you can have all kinds of things in it, or you can divide it down into smaller sections. But there'll be two different kinds of buildings though, but we plan on having them either attached or a covered walkway that would go between them. It'd be really close.
Okay.
To save in future construction.
Yeah, one more unrelated question. When the new maintenance and highway department building gets built and everybody moves over there, do we have a specific plan in mind right now for the old maintenance building that's over there behind the old armory?
So the building maintenance will stay there. We're just moving vehicle maintenance. And the plan for the area where vehicle maintenance is we've got a lot of emergency service trailers and homeland security trailers that currently are having to sit outside that have equipment in them. Our goal would be is to use those big bays over there that they're using for vehicle maintenance now to put those trailers inside to get them in out of the weather. But building maintenance and parks and recreations would still stay in that building.
Any thought of either one of those moving out here at some point?
Could. At some point, we'd be looking at, an emergency services ambulance station that would be somewhere in this area, either on the bus garage side or on this side, as it continues to grow in that area, that's in the capital projects budget in next year, year after next, or somewhere down the line.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, can I just add?
No.
I'm planning on moving forward with this and, unless somebody has any objections, and if you do, I'd ask that you raise them and, to be able to keep going on it and us not lose any steam.
Anybody have any questions or problems about that?
It might be nice to have a motion. Would somebody make a motion?
Motion to allow the county mayor to proceed with the fairgrounds as mapped out.
Second.
Got a motion, and a second, great motion. Any other discussion or questions? Do we need a voice, or can I do a voice, or is there an expenditure of money here, or are we just agreeing?
There's an expenditure of money in capital projects, but you're agreeing to move forward. Do you need it?
They've already approved the money,
Yeah,
so I think it's just approving the plan.
yeah, I think we're okay.
I'd like to have a roll call on this.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to have a roll call on this, if we would.
So we approved 2.5, so what are you asking for now? More than that?
The money is in capital projects
Yeah.
to do the
The 2.5, but are you asking for more than the 2.5?
Yes, I'm asking for the rest of it that's in capital projects already to move forward to keep it going.
Sorry, that would require a roll call vote.
Yeah, I thought all we've approved was 2.5. I don't remember approving more, but we need to. I'm not opposed to voting on it, but 2.5, I remember last year's budget.
That was the guesstimate, that's all the capital projects are. We guesstimated on roofs that were gonna be $1 million, and turned up being $2 million.
Diesel $1.50.
So if I may, Mr. Moore, would you, Mr. Porter, would you please tell us exactly, dollar-wise, if you can, what you're asking for this motion to do, please, so we'll all understand.
I'm asking for you to give me the approval to go ahead with the low bidder on this, to work out the deal, and to be able to go ahead and proceed with this, with the extra funds we have in capital projects to be able to do it.
Up to how much? Because, you said a high bid of 15 million, but,
Won't be any more than 6
okay.
out of this budget. Now, we have $1 million in capital projects for next year to do some more to it. We'll probably use some of that for paving and stuff, but we try to get that.
Does that include the 2.5 we approved
Yes.
last year? Okay, so an additional 3.5 million.
So it's gonna be a not to exceed, correct?
Well, give me a little leeway there. I mean, I'm gonna do the very best I can. If it comes in at $6 million and 10,000, I wouldn't wanna be
May I
held
amend
up
my
over
motion?
that, okay?
May I amend my motion?
You may.
All right, I'd like to amend it to not to exceed an additional, we're asking, an additional $4 million to bring it up to 6.5.
That'd be fine.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second now. Does everybody understand what that motion is? We're gonna
No, sir.
give him, I'm sorry?
But what is the motion?
Okay. We're being asked to give, the mayor approval to go up to $6.5 million to finish the projects. He's just spent the last few minutes indicating as far as the fairgrounds is concerned. And that is so that perhaps we could have a fair next year out there. That's the arena, and as it goes around that bend up there and that roadway, certainly it's not the expo center, but which building, is it the expo center?
It's the conference and event center that the
Conference.
state's give us $2.5 million that's in next year's capital projects to be able to do.
So we're approving another $4 million, to go toward that project, since we already have 2.5 committed to that. Now does every, look at me, and if there's confusion, yes, sir, Mr. Moss.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed
Maybe
$6.5.
$5, but that's.
Well, he
You
billed
know I'm
$6
gonna-
million, so I think $500,000 maybe is giving him.
I've already built that in.
The leeway that he's asking for. Does everybody understand that motion?
Is this forward coming
Mr.
from
Clerk.
capital projects?
I'm sorry?
Where's the 4 million coming from?
It's already in capital.
Already in capital projects, all right.
All right, we will have a roll call, so Mr. Kirk, when you're ready, take your time.
Whew. All right, Chelsea, you and I will talk in the morning, okay? Get this, ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, take your handsets. If you in favor of the motion, vote yes. If you're not in favor of the motion, vote no. Everyone, please vote. All votes are in. Anyone wish to change their vote anywhere? All right. Did you abstain? All right.
Can I say one more thing?
You may, sure.
We, I just want to let you know, we closed on the Shoney's Hill property that we sold, last week. And, we've already got the check, and that's already been deposited in the capital projects to go towards the, bus garage and, county maintenance facility. So that's some good news.
Awesome.
And Mayor, that amount was again?
2 million.
Two.
Appraisal was a little under 600, wasn't it?
Any announcements,
Yes, I've got one.
please?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who reached out to me via text, Facebook message when last month when my father passed away. It means more to me than you'll ever know, but I just want to say thank you very much from my family and myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I would like to say then a couple of things if I may, and we got a budget committee.
We still got a
Did y'all have something you wanted to say? Is that,
I've got a question. I've been waiting till the end to ask,
okay?
if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
Okay, it was interesting to me that we bought this property tonight, halves with the city. Is the entire Highlands Industrial Park owned halvies with the city? All right, and then, well, who's the captain? How do we, who handles the activities and comings and goings? You do? Or do y'all alternate? Do you have a board? How's it handled?
County Commission and City Council. On a day-to-day basis, the city manager and myself, state law says I have upkeep of the county property, and then we work together on it, and we've always agreed on everything, but anything that has to do with the business park as far as selling or buying land has to come to the County Commission and the City Council.
What's the total acreage still left?
Oh, wow.
Well, just roughly, somebody knows, I mean,
Not off the top of
No.
my head, but I'm
200, 300, 400?
I'd say, yeah, a couple of hundred to three. I mean, I'm afraid to say, I haven't looked at it lately since we've sold some of it off. I don't want to give you a bad
400
answer.
plus.
Quite an
when we bought it.
investment.
I don't remember the exact.
I'll get it for you though and send it to you.
Thank you very
Ralph,
much.
do you have
Thank
something?
you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. I just want to say something really quickly. I want to remind you, first of all, Budget Committee immediately after this. Folks, I don't know whether you remember the things that Mayor Porter just shared with us. You remember the water sign? Did you see how many green dots there were? We're a county of 80,000. Of course, that's with the census, and we still have that many people without water. So I'm thankful for this commission. Pat yourselves on the back. You've taken on a big responsibility to alleviate that problem for our county residents, which what I think we were elected to do. Thank goodness for the money we were given to do so, but the point is, we're making a difference. There's a lot of things he showed us, the new fairgrounds, the new veterans building, so many things, folks, in the last couple of years. This commission has stood out and done something positive. I'm grateful as your chair today of this commission and what you've taken on the responsibilities, and to accomplish a lot of things for our county. So thank you. I pat you on the back. I would like to say one more thing, Mr. Sam, then I'll let you have it back. I was serious about solid waste. That was a very little number. I don't know what we've done to collect, but those numbers in the years past have been much larger. So, Mr. Mayor, I think we owe a pat on the back to the people at Solid Waste for the job they've done as far as turning that around.
They've been doing a good job, and hopefully they'll continue. You never know when a company's gonna go bankrupt, and you have to write off some money, but, they're doing a good job with the increased amount of garbage that they're seeing. It's,
Well,
so we've got some good folks
publicly say thank you to them. They're doing a great job. Mr. Sam?
Well, while we're talking about doing really good things, I don't remember you mentioning broadband tonight. What percent have we got coverage, and I think that's one of the best things we've done, is if we can get broadband to every part of this county, it's a tremendous move for the well-being of this county and the growth.
You approved the 4.5 million to match the grant that the state is putting. They're putting about $500 million into broadband expansion. You have at least two providers here that have applied for that money, Twin Lakes and Spectrum. There could have been others that I don't know about. When those grants are awarded, and we're hoping that's gonna happen just any time, either this week or over the next 30 days, we think the state will be awarding the grants. And I'm just going, if Twin Lakes gets the grant money, you'll have, all of Putnam County will have at least 200 megabits of internet service, speed-wise, which is really great. They're gonna finish running fiber. Spectrum is already running fiber. They got a federal grant, about $76 million, to do not only part of Putnam County, but some other counties. They're running fiber right now. So if everything goes right, and the grants are awarded like we hope they'll be awarded, you could have 100%, 200 megabit coverage inside of Putnam County with broadband, which would be a huge accomplishment. So we got fingers crossed, so, sorry. So much to update you on, I left that one out.
When you say broadband, you're talking fiber optic?
A lot of it will be fiber optic is what they're running, but some of it is still the old cable, like the cable company ran, that they run across, but they're running 200 megabits on it pretty easy, so.
Any other comments?
Good job this month, and y'all have done a great job. This commission, and I was gonna say it at future meetings, but y'all have been one of the easiest commissions to work with that I've been involved in, and I've been involved with a lot of them over the years when I was at EMS and now as county mayor, and I applaud how good y'all get along and work together. Y'all done a great job, and y'all deserve a pat on the back, too.
I don't know if I like to be called easy or not.
Well, you know what I meant.
Let me echo that. I've been here a little while too, and it has been a great 4 years, so thank you. Thank you very kindly. I didn't mean the others were bad, I just mean this one was good. How's that? Anybody else, folks? Anybody else? All right, we're gonna be in about 10 minutes. Our chair says he will convene the budget committee, so we stand adjourned.